Welcome back to World 2020. We are ready for Game 5 presented by Spotify. And Spotify wants to know what is your ultimate hype track for this game. Share it on Twitter using the hashtag #LeagueOnSpotify. Ender, if I would ask the same question, what would your ultimate hype track be?
Oh, old champ select music. That's the one. Old champ select. That is a banger, and that is the only thing this series is missing.
Well, Champ Select is loading up with new Champ Select music. I should have asked you that question before. Maybe we could have got some for you. Nevertheless, Top Esports taking on Fnatic. And as Fnatic lost the last previous game, they will have side selection once again. They've elected blue side. Super quick before I look at the champions, Fnatic have made it to a Game 5 in a best of 5 10 times in the organization's history. They have won 7 of those games and lost 3. And only one of them has ever been at an international tournament. It was a loss to SKT at the MSI 2015 semi-finals. Let's see what Fnatic can do today as they ban away Syndra and Set, jumping into the final game.
Wow, okay. So already changing things up here. Last game, they banned away that Sylas that Knight piloted in Game 2. I believe we'll open up that third pick, Sylas, as a counter option if TES want to go that route. In this game, I mean, draft is going to be so interesting because 2 games in a row now, 369 Sion has been a problem for Fnatic to deal with. But is it the Sion's fault, or is it only having Galio as your AP source of damage? Changing things up continues, though, with a Lulu ban, and that's odd, because we have not seen Lulu. We've seen a lot of second phase bans on the Lulu. We have seen it paired with some really strong bot lane champions, but Fnatic are looking for something that we don't see yet.
Now the question is, what did we see Lulu run into during the group stages when it was run top lane? What champions could they potentially be banning away if that was one of the options? For this game, I have to have my eyes on Selfmade and Karsa. And we've talked a lot about both of them, but Selfmade had all the tools, all the gold, all the damage necessary to run away with that game, but the team couldn't curate or engineer scenarios for that Graves to have the impact that he had. Karsa, on the other hand, on the Nidalee, he found the spears and the fights over and over.
Because for Selfmade, it was a really hard game because he just got outranged by a lot of stuff on the TES comp, and he was just beaten against a Sion that he could not get through. So the only way he's able to fight is if he can reach the backline, and then his burst damage would be huge. But Karsa's Nidalee was absolutely insane. If I'm TES coach, I want him on that again. It was that good that I want to see him pilot it one more time. If I were to bank everything on a player in this final game, I would look at Karsa.
Well, Karsa, for the time being, is going to lock in the Lee Sin. It was what helped Top Esports pick up their first win on this comeback. They're 2 in a row so far. And now Selfmade will need to reveal what does he want to run into the Lee Sin, and in conjunction with the Senna.
We could see him holding off on that for a little while. It's very, very common for Fnatic to hold that jungle pick until much later in the draft, even after TES have shown that Lee Sin. I think you put Hylissang on the Rakan. When Fnatic get into crunch situations, when Fnatic's back are against the wall, they will almost always default to comfort. Picks like the Rakan for Hylissang. These types of champions are always what they want in these Game 5s when it doesn't matter everything else. You want your players to feel at home. You want them in the best possible position. And
if Hylissang can find the engages that he has so many times, that will be huge. TF, when I look down at 4 games in a row banned by Top Esports, this time around available, and it is now locked in.
Exactly, and you speak about comfort. Nemesis, Twisted Fate. He played the AD variety, he plays the AP variety now.
Do it.
But Knight played mid lane Nocturne in the group stage as a specific counter pick into the Twisted Fate. The Sylas is a bit more tame version of that, and I think with an AD jungler, it makes a lot more sense to diversify a bit and make sure you have that Sylas for the magic damage. But with the Sylas left open, this is gonna be spicy. Once again, Nemesis has that global impact, but Knight can be favored in the lane.
He absolutely can, and we've seen that Sylas already found itself banned once or twice this series. And this is it, do or die for both sides, with the Lee Sin locked in for Karsa. And we've got our mid and bot already on Top Esports. Now we need to see what jungle pick Selfmade is going to go for. Every time that JackeyLove has run Ezreal, the Yuumi and the Bard have been the phase 2 bans for Fnatic. With Yuumi removed from the table, I would anticipate Bard being the follow-up. Kindred and Camille taken away from top esports. So do we have a Tonk v Tonk top laner once again?
I mean, I think that has to be the expectation with how the games have been playing, with stuff like the Ornn being left open. Once again, though, Twisted Fate not the best champion in terms of damaging tanky frontliners for your magic damage. That's why we're going to see the Sion ban come through. Of course, this does leave open the Bard that has been commonly banned. It was the Yuumi and Bard bans next to the Ezreal if they wanted to play for that ranged matchup here. And, you know, Bard sees a Rakan, E onto a Senna. Well, that's a pretty nice lineup for a Q if you want to land that CC.
What do you prefer, Leona or the Bard?
I think that I like Leona in the hands of yuyanjia because one thing that I think is very scary in the hands of an LPL team is that immediate hard engage from long range. And Bard does have that with his ultimate, but it's a little bit different comparing that to a solar flare here. So the Leona into the Rakan is sort of that point and click champion that if Rakan hops in, you can instantly see that, but very hard to lock down with the Zenith Blade.
And I also think when you look at the likes of Sylas and Lee Sin go forward, I think synergizes a little bit better holistically as a team than necessarily the Bard. You can allow JackeyLove to just sit in the flanks and play however he wants to. With Camille, Sion, Lulu banned away, Bwipo is locking in Gangplank. There is no more of a comfort pick and comfort composition than what we've already seen. And for the last question mark, what does Selfmade run in the jungle?
Oh, it's the Gragas.
Comfort.
All right. This is one of those AP junglers that he also plays. Played a lot this season, actually, and I really like this adaptation. Now you have double globals, you have globals in top, you have globals in mid, and of course that Gragas for Selfmade to play around the rest of the map, and it's going to be a bot lane focus again, I feel.
And the explosive Karsa is disengaged for Sylas, Lee Sin, Leona, one of the tools if they want to, but because of that Gangplank at the top lane, Vladimir is now the reply. Once again, death ball forward. I feel like we're going to have a lot of very hectic skirmishes and team fights as we get closer to the mid game.
Yeah, this can get really, really crazy because now 369 is that late game scaling insurance. You sort of have Karsa Knight to act as the bridge. You know, Knight can follow those TF roams with his ultimate, stealing that one away to have that global pressure and match that. But I mean, late into the game, you do not have a lot of instant reliable CC. You got to wait for the gold card. You got to, you know, wait for Senna's W to prime. Vladimir flanking, flashing into the backline is going to absolutely destroy Fnatic if they do not pay respect to it.
Ooh. We've seen Fnatic initiating and creating opportunities for themselves all series long, especially games 1, 2, and 4. However, we've also seen them overreaching, overcommitting for engagements. And when you look at a Sylas, a Leona, a Vladimir, you are going to get punished so heavily. This is our first game 5 of the quarterfinals at Worlds. Fnatic won the first 2 games, hotly contested, very close, a game of inches, as it were. Then they get blown out of the water in game 3, and the mental state, the fatigue, the pressure on Europe's 2nd seed and on China's 1st seed. We load into the Rift for the final time today, and it has been a hell of a journey. And now we get to see who advances to face off against Suning in the semifinals. The winner of this game books their ticket. Is it Europe or is it China? That's what we're going to find out.
Oh man, I just can't take my eyes away from Karsa. His Nidalee performance was so insane in that last game because I really do believe that was Fnatic's game to win right there. It was theirs, and Karsa in those fights on the Nidalee finding Selfmade was so critical to TES turning around and finding success and pushing us to this game number 5. And now, once again, he returns to that Lee Sin to have the early game impact and hopefully find some fights around, working with yuyanjia to roam and get kills, because that is what it is all about for TES here, is him acting as the bridge into the late game damage of a Vladimir and an Ezreal.
I started talking about Lee Sin's impact in the early game and even asked you direct questions on what you think of the champion as a whole. And the basic summary was, well, look, if you can find the impact, if you can find the kills, it's great. And that's what Karsa has done. 2 games in a row, he's had a very large impact on the game. Once again, Karsa is going to get a pretty heavy leash. This time around, Rekkles and Hylissang also helping out Selfmade in both the bottom and the eastern quadrant of the jungle.
Yeah, Gragas may be a little bit more reliant on an early leash than some of the other junglers Selfmade has been running today. One of those things that was so great for Karsa when it came to the early game playmaking was actually a little bit later. Once Lee Sin gets his warrior enchantment, again, that one-shot potential with his ultimate is so huge, and especially around that mark, linking up with yuyanjia either to roam into mid lane and sort of hit the global added source, or even walk into the enemy jungle. We saw that work out really well earlier on in this series, picking off Selfmade when he was playing that Kha'Zix, and Gragas can also be quite vulnerable.
They absolutely can. And Hylissang and Rekkles, they've been able to have such great success in this 2v2, and I think Hylissang in particular is one of the guys that gets talked about a lot, memed about, you know, coin flip player. He really has been on, especially with his initiations and his engages. And well, let's see how we can handle this Ezreal Leona lane. Nemesis early ward steps up to the Raptor camp. That'll give some info as and when Karsa goes. But look at this, level 3 is going to come around in behind Nemesis. Selfmade is close by though. That's the stun. Selfmade, does he decide to turn? Sonic Wave, Resonant Strike, flash away under the tower. First blood to Karsa and top esports.
Karsa gets it going early, right there, hopping into mid lane, getting first blood. Nemesis had just used his pressure to put a ward in the enemy jungle. Did not see Hylissang, and then right from underneath, Karsa in game 5. This is what I'm saying. Give him the champion he wants to play. Give him that Hylissang, because he has a huge impact on it.
Such a fantastic gank, landing everything. And they get Nemesis's flash as well. He's teleported back to lane to not lose out on too many minions as possible. But this will be a difficult situation to be in, and of course it landed in Karsa, speeding up the time to get that warrior enchant.
Yep, really good news for him, and just, you know, early on you're gonna fall down in CS usually in this Sylas matchup, but that extra pressure forcing the teleport out of Nemesis, a really big deal as well, yuyanjia.
Zenith Blade does connect, a lot of damage there onto Rekkles. Cleanse Flash still available to him. JackeyLove and yuyanjia back away. Yeah, that extra damage coming out of the Leona W there, doing some big chunk damage onto Rekkles on the back half. We all see an early reset out of Bwipo here. Early lane phase, GP is actually quite favored, and it can sort of walk up into the face of Vladimir, trade Qs pretty frequently. If he ever gets to auto-attack him, that's going to be a big win in the trade for Bwipo. So he takes that early pressure, takes the reset, now has a Cull in his pocket as well. The passive working out so well for him. Cull also gives you a bit of an indication of how Bwipo anticipates this laning phase to play out. For the time being, Rekkles and Hylissang under a lot of pressure. yuyanjia finding a very good engage earlier, burned through some of the potions, but not too many. And Knight right now stepping backwards, respecting the range that Nemesis can throw out.
Item difference in the jungle. It's a red smite and a longsword with that first blood money for Karsa, whereas Selfmade, rocking the Predator, now has his boot, so has opened up better gank opportunities. But again, Hylissang always going to be favored if they do meet, and if Karsa is able to spot out Selfmade early and be ready for a counter game.
Let's see how well Selfmade can impact this game. Karsa already straight out the gates, that level 3 gank from behind, helping out. However, with the lane matchup, the auto, long-range auto attacks of Twisted Fate into Sylas, he's got himself a 10 CS lead. The wave is just crashing into Knight for now, so that is to be expected. Yeah. As well as that minion dematerializer to help just make sure you can control the wave at his pace.
And as long as Nemesis is able to sort of hold the wave in front of his tower, not push up too far, he should be not too vulnerable. You know, even without the flash, if he's close to his tower, that's the benefit of being in a mid lane. You're not in too much risk. But Karsa will walk in and place a deep ward, has double control wards too, so can really start to take control of the jungle. And this could be really good news for someone named JackeyLove, perhaps, who's had the map split against him so many times this series, with the priority early on in the jungle matchup with that first blood. Karsa can sort of control which side of the map he can play on and force Selfmade to the other.
Now that's where Selfmade's going, up to the top lane. 369, level 5, low on HP. And Selfmade, does he fancy a shot?
Oh! Whoa! Okay, welcome back, Selfmade. That's a return. Honestly, game 4, it was Jungle Kingdom for both sides. I'll take another. Thank you very much.
What I love about that is, both of us did not expect that damage. I was like, will he or won't he? Will he commit the flash? Will he commit the flash? Yes is the answer, and an instant reply from Fnatic.
But here's where Selfmade is actually really, really smart, because a lot of Gragas in that situation, they body slam and then they flash. And that's really easy to react to. You know, you say, well, it's hard, but well, you see the whole body slam animation start, well then immediately you're going to see the pool come out from 369. But he actually flashed then body slam. So the window in which 369 could actually react looked a little bit shorter and was not able to pop either a flash or that pool in time.
So 369 goes down, immediately teleports back into lane. He's still got a 5 CS advantage for now, as he's caught most of that wave, but very crucial to note, level 6 for Bwipo, and he's held onto that teleport. And whenever you see any team with a Twisted Fate and a Gangplank, you can expect a party in the bottom lane at some point, right? So that teleport advantage will be very, very crucial to keep an eye on. Can 369 and Karsa unlock it, push him back? zone him away, maybe get the flash as well? Or will Fnatic once again be able to create an environment where they can TP or they can ultimate to the bottom lane?
Well, look at this. Level 6 for Karsa. He's already here. Nemesis still no flash and just use the gold card. It's his time. Karsa can go in.
Down. Look at the river though. Selfmade and Hylissang around. Nemesis needs to cheat south. Cheat south. Does he know that they're there? Hylissang stepping forward. The bait game is on. Gold card is just about to get locked. It does. Goes out onto Knight, and here comes Karsa. Kick forward. Not towards the tower. Zenith blade as well. Nemesis stays alive a few seconds longer. Selfmade holding onto the body slam. He's going to escape with his life for now. Defensive flash from Hylissang as the cannon barrage came down. Not only do Top Esports get the kill, they get the ultimate as well.
Selfmade was only level 5, a level 6 Gragas there, and that is so many kills, but it's just beautiful there from Karsa. The Q onto the minions into the Warthog, and then able to finish off that kill onto Nemesis. Great stuff out of him again to attack this mid lane.
Very, very nicely done. 1 kill for Knight, 1 kill for Karsa. And here's the replay as Nemesis steps forward to the gold card and Hilly jumps in.
But again, it looks a little disjointed because Selfmade was placing some vision on the enemy blue buff right when Karsa goes in, hand-delivered to yuyanjia. Hylissang actually ended up picking the aggro up off of that Zenith Blade, but the difference is the levels. Karsa was able to get to level 6 before Selfmade with that early pressure, and that changes the whole course of the game.
It really, really did. And like you said, had that explosive cast been available, also wanted to myself had Selfmade, had his flash. If he could have got a 3-man knockup under the cannon barrage, maybe it could have been different, but he committed it earlier to pick up the kill. Gold is still even in regards to the game, and Selfmade this time around with level 6, as well as the control ward and the tri-bush is stepping forward. The moment he steps into the river, JackeyLove and yuyanjia will be aware. There's no flash on yuyanjia though. He's got that Heck flash available to him, but good luck catching JackeyLove with flash, cleanse, as well as an arcane shield.
Yeah, I think you're in this game you're probably targeting the Leona as opposed to the Ezreal. They have the vision on the TES blue buff, which is why Selfmade was really confident to walk into the river there. He really doesn't think Karsa is on that side of the map, but still doesn't feel sure himself to walk in and try to steal the enemy blue buff with how powerful Karsa is. You can see the finished warrior enchant. This is exactly what I'm talking about. His ult is back up and ready to go. So now Karsa, just off of that cooldown, continue to look for fights. And the pathing of yuyanjia is very telling as well. Started going bot side, realizes Karsa is actually calling him over. Karsa wants to make plays happen, go for the Herald, and Leona is going to be here with level 6.
Selfmade and Nemesis make their way up. It will be too late to the party though. By the time Hylissang can make it to the mid lane, this Rift Herald should be down, although do Fnatic fancy themselves a shot? There's the Hex Splash, Zenith Blade, that's a connection on his Selfmade. He gets kicked backwards as well. He cannot even cast his ultimate. Top Esports chain lock him with the CC, and Nemesis forced to use his flash defensively. That was fantastic.
Just beautiful coordination between the jungle and support of TES on top of the Rift Herald as well. The game is getting a little bit out of hand for Fnatic. Kills going left, right, center here, and TES are the ones that come out on top of these scraps. Karsa can also walk into the enemy jungle. I think the blue buff went over to Knight. Karsa can take the Gromp camp as well. It is starting to be put together here for TES.
Can Hylissang do anything about this?
4-second recall.
Enough vision. It's going to be... Ooh, that was a little close. yuyanjia on the Leona, by the way, had that been a Bard lock-in, which is what we were discussing a lot, you would not have been able to Hex Flash Zenith Blade over that wall, right? So that play is what started all, and the stun lock from the CC was just immense.
Yeah, I mean, Karsa just hand-delivers the Gragas into Knight, who also stole away that explosive cask, and Smite comes through for him, so he's going to be able to use that, and he's held on to that a lot, making sure it goes into the absolute optimal position for his team with the lead that Knight has, though. I mean, 2-0-1 now, 100 CS has already been passed. Like, now you can just walk around with Knight. He has that Gragas ultimate. Where can he fight? Let's make it happen.
Find someone to jump onto. The bottom lane, maybe the focus. Infernal Dragon is inside the pit, a number of Fnatic pings around us. So Top Esports will start this one off. Teleporting Cannon Barrage available for Bwipo. He's starting to back away after he's shoved that wave in. Still 23 stacks on that Cull to go. And we're going to be playing for an Ocean Rift once again. It's only 800 gold, the difference. So while it is not insurmountable by any means, it is still Top Esports that have struck first, that have been proactive, that have not only momentum of the last 2 games, but momentum this game on their side. And this is a crazy situation to be in, because before we started the day, people wanted a game 5, but nobody really expected it.
Yeah.
People wanted to see Fnatic challenge and contest top, and the way that they did was exceptional, but now Fnatic have to dig even deeper. They're behind this game. They're losing tempo in the series, and they have to find a way to control back, especially with top having 2 dragons already.
Yeah, Karsa playing around this bottom side with the Rift Herald. Doesn't end up pulling the trigger on the play, even with Selfmade towards that top side of the map. Of course, teleports on the other side. Those global ultimates can also be a problem, but it's really hard for Selfmade to play around top lane. Like, he wants to live in bot side, but he's been relegated to that top end of the map here because of how powerful Karsa is. Like, he has free reign over the Fnatic jungle.
Yeah, 1-0-2, Warrior plus Merc Treads. Gonna summon the Rift Herald over the wall to help Knight out as well. And if Nemesis sticks around too long to even try to contest, then the threat of the dive is very, very big. We'll get the charge, multiple plates onto Knight, and Knight's even going to steal away.
Zoom out further onto the map, though, because Rekkles and Hylissang both started walking up, so JackeyLove is also getting free solo plates in the bot lane. The CS is being denied, and as soon as they see Knight pick up the TF ultimate, well, they can't go bot lane, because otherwise they get dove. Like, this is a miserable position for Fnatic to be in, and they have to be able to force something somewhere, because, well, the gold is 1.5k right now. It's about to become much, much more.
The tower in the bottom lane is at risk of falling here. yuyanjia and Karsa, they're just waiting. The moment someone comes past, oh, there's a ward here, which is fantastic from Top Esports. Krog's available as well. If nothing happens, there's still going to be an advantage because multiple plates have fallen. There's going to be one left here, and you'll see Selfmade finally picking up his red buff while the rest of Top Esports are lingering in the way.
Selfmade's on the wards, though, so he can't walk down here. I mean, there's no way Nemesis can actually pick up the farm. In this bottom lane, he's pathing down here, but it's just not going to work for the team. Actually, JackeyLove gonna reset off of that one. Apparently, a little concerned about the plating resistances that go up the more plates you do knock down. So things will slow down for the time being, but still very much TES favored.
It really, really is. Trinity Force was picked up by Bwipo. His Cull is now fully stacked. 369 has yet to back. Still got a teleport available for him. Rod of Ages for Nemesis, GLP for Knight. That's Super Soaker. And this game, the laning phase, has sort of played out, I think,
no. Knight's about to port on bot lane, and Karsa's already here.
Nemesis is going to try to get away. Kicked into the face! You cannot escape with the gate, despite the Destiny. Gold card will buy some time. It'll be just enough time for Knight to kill Nemesis. Now Hylissang's looking for JackeyLove. There's a cleanse and a flash. The IG emote was beautiful.
Oh,
and Bwipo finds a solo kill to 369. JackeyLove escapes, sidesteps everything, and does not go down. The Dawning Shadow will not find the kill either. And now Hylissang is going to be the next target. How did JackeyLove dodge everything? Hylissang goes down as well.
IG JackeyLove is back in the building after flashing that emote, juking out everything. Selfmade could not find it. TES come up big one more time. It is just a kill from Bwipo to try and turn things around in top lane, but it is not enough.
Bwipo was able to chase down 369, and the last time that Bwipo, played in against an UPL team in the finals of 2018, he was subbed out for SOAS after 2 games of being unable to have an impact. This time in Game 5, he has a kill, but Fnatic are faltering. 3,700 gold down, 2 dragons down, 4 kills down. And this is the replay of the solo kill.
Yeah, I mean, we'll watch the fight up here. 369 has to use the pool to dodge out from the Q and tries to flash away with move speed. Bwipo can chase him down, but the real confusion was around mid lane where Hylissang is forcing this play. Selfmade wants nothing of this. The communication is scattered. Like, Sia's pathing, like he's still confused as to which way he wants to go, while Hylissang uses his entire CC lock. So now Selfmade's abilities can be dodged, and he still commits in for the fight. Lands almost to anything, but JackeyLove the cleanse flash and then walks down. That's it's an outplay from JackeyLove, and it's also a misplay from Selfmade. That explosive cast should never miss.
What can JackeyLove do? That is what JackeyLove can do after 4 intense games. Karsa and Knight have had their moment in the sun in the first 15 minutes. Look at Karsa. 2-0-3, got the Phage as well as the Warrior. Knight 3-0-2. The first time JackeyLove gets jumped on, he sidesteps everything.
Hello.
And here comes the engage. That's the quickness into explosive cast. JackeyLove gets knocked into the end, taken down by Selfmade. yuyanjia's the next target. 5 members of Fnatic in the mid lane, and they turn their attention onto Knight. Knight has hijacked himself an explosive cast, and he throws it backwards. Nemesis is the target. Flash over the wall from Knight, and Karsa's there to help. A couple of quick kills to Fnatic.
Fnatic still want more. Bwipo's ultimate is just about to return. Same with Nemesis, so they can chase if TES posture too aggressively inside the river. Fnatic will take the fight, and they'll take the dragon on top. That is absolutely massive for them. They don't get that fight, they lose this dragon, it's now soul point for TES.
Their tournament lives were on the line, but not only that, the motivation, the confidence, the self-belief. We've seen multiple games where Fnatic were popping off, and take a look at Selfmade and Hilly comboing.
Hilly is stone cold here, because, you know, by all means he should be hopping over the wall, but he realizes he can find JackeyLove. Now it's Selfmade and Hylissang comboing together. JackeyLove is killable, especially after losing his summoners in the last fight. But this is what Fnatic will do when they start to fall behind. They will throw fights at you repeatedly. It worked because TES were scattered, 369 was there, but it opens up, if TES are ready the next time, for Fnatic to get completely punished.
17 minutes in, Bwipo is the gold leader in the game, but then look at that Knight, JackeyLove, Karsa. Everybody watching, do you believe? That is the question, because Fnatic are still 2,500, 3,000 gold down. They are in a very big deficit, but you have seen how they can combo. This game is still top esports favorite. The series was top esports favorite. And with the fact that Knight and Karsa are still terrifying, you need to keep a very close eye on what impact they can have and whether or not sort of Selfmade Hilly can lock one of them up long enough to die. And that can be how Fnatic win those skirmishes.
Yeah, I mean, for now, I just want to see TES continue to play the game they have been playing. When the objectives go down, it's Karsa punching at side lanes, playing around Knight in particular. 369 is 0-2, just let him farm up, that's going to be fine. But around Knight, who has that kill pressure, that CC setup for Karsa, can be absolutely deadly and also help them take control over Fnatic's jungle, because once Fnatic lose control of the jungle, all of a sudden it's so much harder for Hylissang to find those, you know, creative flanks through the fog of war.
Now, something that has been interesting all series long is that around the 20-minute mark, we'll get to that in a moment, there have been fairly early Barons, like a big team fight or a big engage that has led to an early Baron. And as we're getting to that 20-minute moment, notice that Knight was able to hijack away the cannon barrage. It's 3 minutes until the next dragon, so I think it'll be hugely influential, but with no outer turrets, Fnatic have to push so far to contest.
Yeah, the reason why we keep seeing these early Barons is that the teams are actually fighting over Dragon, but no one starts the Dragon. Like, they won't let you into the river, right? You know, they see the fight before it happens. They don't want to waste any time on that objective, waste any opportunity for the enemy team to steal that one away. So, see hero, kill hero has been the name of the game for these squads. And
with the Black Cleaver in Karsa's inventory, there's a lot of tools to do so. Hourglass was picked up for Knight as well, and that's coming up to 6 stacks of Roa, a Sheen, and a Wisp for Nemesis. So there's a big disparity. I mean, look at JackeyLove as well. You know, Manamune stacking, Iceborne Gauntlet into thrift shopping after the Manamune. So big differences, although this very second Ghostblade was just picked up. That is going to be crucial for the next few fights. And if there is one thing that does benefit Fnatic here, they do have a lot of scaling on their side. There's benefits to them. The Senna can be very, very useful to stay a little bit out of range of some of those initiation tools.
Yeah, the struggle is always going to be dealing with the Vladimir, but for the foreseeable future, 369 isn't a big issue for Fnatic. It's more, you know, the dive of Karsa, Knight, JackeyLove being in a very powerful position. As soon as that Death's Dance comes through as well, like, that Ezreal isn't going to be killable from the side of Fnatic. But for Fnatic, the way they want to approach these fights, they want to play slow. Bwipo is really powerful, actually, especially building towards some magic resistance here. Karsa has now entered the brush. Oh, man.
He can assassinate.
Oh, man.
Here comes Karsa. Sonic wave right between Rekkles and Hilly. And 369 is going to be able to dash away to safety. I think that's the Predator popped as well from Selfmade. He's going to try to steal away as many Raptors as he can. Actually, he's going to try to secure as many Raptors as he can. Top Esports, on the other hand, they were stealing them. And the wild cards plus the blue card will not be enough to steal, to secure the blue buff.
It's this denial, though, over the mini objectives like the blue. The Raptor camp, yuyanjia finds it.
Senna's blade will go in, bounce away from the boss cone. But this is what you talked about, Ender. You said you wanted to see Karsa and Knight playing the side lanes. You see they shove that side lane in, collapse into the jungle, contest over the buffs. And we're going to do that rinse and repeat until this dragon comes up.
Yeah, I mean, the dragon's going to spawn, and then Fnatic are going to have to ask themselves if they actually want to contest it, because all the items are coming through from TES. You know, the Mirror Mana finally upgraded as well on this Ezreal, so they are very, very strong. And the only way Fnatic win these fights, I feel, is really playing around the chaining of Bwipo's barrels. He's level 13, a huge spike on the Gangplank, so he can keep, you know, rapid fire dishing those out. But his positioning has to be so good into a lot of these champions from TES so he can actually output the damage.
It's dragon time here for Top Esports. Teleport comes in from Knight. They'll be spawning shortly. Spellbind and Protobelt for 369. You ask the question, Fnatic want to think, do they? We know they want to. That's I think, safe. Should they, is the question I'm going to ask you. When we look at the state of the lanes, bottom lane is pushing a little bit, and There is a teleport available from Bwipo, and here comes Top Esports. They're in the pit.
Yeah, they're starting this one off. Fnatic have control of the mid wave, and they're now walking down into the river, but they might just be too late, Trevor.
Yeah, it absolutely feels that way. 2,000 HP. Yuyanjia's waiting in the wings. Dragon will go down. That's the third. Yuyanjia's looking for the Senna's plane. He won't find the target, but Bwipo gets jumped on. He gets kicked backwards, and he's taken out by JackeyLove. The most fed, farmed member of Fnatic is down, and 369 plucks Hylissang from the sky.
TES show up in the fight, and we're once again going to see them head towards an early Baron. Selfmade is alive, but it's a 5 versus 3. It's all looking TES.
It feels like every single game this happens. Nemesis has no destiny available. The Dawning Shadow and Flashing Cleanser up for Rekkles, and Selfmade has Flash and Smite, but are they even going to contest? The answer right now is no. The LPL has struck back. I said it at the end of the last game, and I'm going to say it again now. There has never been a reverse sweep at Worlds, and Top Esports are setting themselves up to close it out.
The collapse down on Bwipo, everyone on TES, they realize Bwipo was the problem, they isolate him and they destroy him. Hylissang also gets caught off. It just looks too easy for the LPL representatives, and now have everything they need to close out this game.
And it's just been a story of Karsa and Knight over the last few games. I mean, mitigating and controlling Rekkles and Hylissang was step one to Top Esports' comeback this series. They found answers for that. Now they also found ways to play in the lane against Rekkles, Senna or Ashe. And from there on, 369, Karsa and Knights have now had a chance to step up. 369 in many of the previous games. This game been less exciting, shall we say. But definitely throughout the series has been one of the standouts. And now with a 5,000 gold lead, with Baron buff, they already had control of the Rift. They have all the tools they need to close it out, and it's all going to be on Fnatic. Find those exceptional picks.
Fnatic want the fight. Every time against the Baron, they're going to look for it, but they missed their engage. yuyanjia dodged it out, and now their towers are gone. Now the window has passed, and TES get one more objective.
They do. That's the 4th tower secured. Bottom inner turret, top inner turret, it's all that's standing. All the ultimates are available for Fnatic. There goes the
JackeyLove!
That's onto JackeyLove, but they need to take him out. The Dawning Shadow's not going to be able to land, and they don't get it done. 369 gets exhausted, goes into the Sanguine Pool. Selfmade goes golden and stays alive for a few seconds longer, and nobody dies in the fight, despite catching JackeyLove.
It was a heroic effort from Fnatic, and they spent everything to get the TES AD carry, but they could not finish him off this time. You see the Death Stance in the inventory. He's unkillable. Fnatic do not have what it takes to take him out of the fight.
Plus the flash, plus the cleanse. He had all the tools, and Top Esports will secure another tower. The Red Bull Baron power play up to 3,000. That's the engagement. There's not enough damage following it up. Teleports coming in. Selfmade was not there. 1, 2, 3 members of Fnatic are down. The catch onto Rekkles, Knight, and the rest of Top Esports have done it again. They've got enough time. They've got Baron minions, and they may have just won the series. Flashing the RNG logo. Karsa is going to set himself up with a showdown against Sword Art. And Selfmade will be the final kill, the final nail in the coffin, and the final blow for Fnatic. Top Esports, for the first time, will pull off the reverse sweep. Top Esports will face off against Suning in the semi-finals. And for one more year in a row, we are guaranteed an LPL representative in the final.
Top Esports were one game away from defeat. 3 times in a row, but they claw it back. Karsa, an absolute beast in Game 4. From the jaws of defeat, somehow finding a win. In this game, attacking mid early, finding his moves on that Lee Sin. An absolutely godly performance from the jungler of TES.
The mental resilience and fortitude for Top Esports. They were the favorites this series. They had the depth of play, and they were pushed to the brink of utter collapse. Spare a thought for Fnatic. They put up a valiant fight, but ultimately, Top Esports outperformed them.
Heartbreak for Fnatic. There's no other word. They were up 2-0. Rekkles had the upper hand in the bot lane matchup. The revenge against JackeyLove. He waited 2 years to find. But it's bigger than just one player. It's a whole team effort, and Top Esports showed up in those final 3 games.
They did, absolutely every single one. And I think I said just before that game ended, Top Esports needed to gain control of that bottom lane because Hylissang and Rekkles wrecked them for the opening games of this series. But as the draft began to adapt and as the play styles of the individuals began to change a little bit, we saw more ganks top than we did bottom. We saw Karsa helping out mid, you know, adapting. Fnatic were unable to keep up with the adaptations that top esports made.
And we saw Karsa be completely unlocked on the Nidalee, on the Lee Sin. Impressive stuff. This has been a meta defined by junglers, and Karsa was the best jungler on the Rift today.
Absolutely exceptional. We'll get more takeaways in this epic series in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. Ender, sick quarterfinal, dude.
Boom! Yo!
Yo! Expect gets caught down. He's got an PA, remember, but he needs Mega.
This was the most disgusting ultimate.
But look at him, he's still alive, he's still surviving.
To me, this play is all about mechanical execution.
Prey trying to get back in, the chase, the resonating strike.
This is one of my absolute all-time favorite moments.
Welcome back, everyone, to the State Farm Analyst Zone. The LPL Champions top came out on top in Game 5 and will face Suning in the semifinals after the first reverse sweep in Worlds history. And I know emotions are flying high from every side. If you're an LPL fan, if you're an EU fan, I think above all the heartbreak. But what an amazing series we saw here today.
LPL fans wiping the sweat off the brow. They're like, oh, not even close, guys.
Not even
like,
close.
Had it, 24-minute victory. Just stop the tape. Yeah, I mean, no one expected Fnatic to come this far. It will not feel good. It will feel real sour right now. And I hope that there is a day on the other side of this where they can feel really proud about the performance and the fight that they put up there. And also the endurance and mental fortitude of top to be on the edge and then to just download, figure it out, and then just drive through Fnatic in those last 3 games.
I think that's the key thing. They found success throughout the game 3, game 4, game 5. I think that they were struggling a lot with their mid jungle. We saw it. They were drafting the weak mid jungles. They couldn't really contest too much through mid, and then eventually they draft these really strong mid jungle 2v2s with the Jace Nidalee, stuff like this, and with the Sylas especially, with the Lee Sin. So they just kept forcing mid, moving that into bot, and then Fnatic didn't really have an answer because the top side kind of collapsed for them.
Do you feel like as the series went on, Top Esports kind of their decision-making in those moments for skirmishes, for team fights, and what to fight for and what, which we praised Fnatic for in the first 2 games, do you think they grew in that regard throughout the series? Because they seem to just make the right decision, especially in this game 5 at every turn.
Actually, no. I don't think that Top's macro actually got better over the course of the series. I think 2 factors. The first factor is solving the bot lane problem, and getting JackeyLove on Ezreal meant that yuyanjia was able to, leave the lane. JackeyLove was by himself for a really long time, then you had those incredible setups where Leona is coming over the wall and locking up Selfmade on Rift Herald and things like that. And then I think the other big important factor was the mechanical outplay. We saw it in Suning versus JDG. I think that we saw it again, especially on the back half of the series of Top versus Fnatic, that when it came down to execution in these team fights, Top started running circles around Fnatic's members. JackeyLove in that mid lane, blue suede shoes, he's dodging every single thing, he's flashing the icon. Like, think about the 8 PM involved in that.
He's ready to hit the emotes. And I think that it's all kind of like a domino effect in a way, where they've tried to figure out the range support to get the push, which kind of works them. But I think that what worked them the most in the game 4 and 5 was the mid prio in general. And basically what you saw in general was Rekkles couldn't push in bot because he had to move mid to help Nemesis, to help he could get the push so that they can contest objectives through mid, but they couldn't go through bot as much. So he tried to help mid, Selfmade tried to help mid. You saw Hylissang trying his best as well, but it just felt like as soon as they had that mid push, the side lanes kind of fell apart for him. I think, yeah.
I'm very glad you brought it up, actually, Frosk, in terms of that game 5, because in the summer finals in the LPL, we saw Top Esports going to a game 5 over JDG. So it's not uncharted territory, but to say it is uncharted territory for Fnatic is also disingenuous, because they also have been in this situation. And at the end of the day, it is about what you can do in that game 5. And I want to give a special shout out to the Oppo player of the series with Karsa. So much going into the jungle matchup, into the top matchup, into everything that both junglers had to do in this best of 5. And this man definitely showed up in the last couple of games.
Yeah, I think absolutely deserved from Karsa right there. Couldn't make it work on the Jarvan, but showcasing why his Lee Sin is so famous. Another great performance on Nidalee. We didn't get to see Beastmaster Karsa, but at the end of the day, I'll take an MVP of the series, no problem.
I think the thing that I liked so much about his picks, basically the Lee Sin and Nidalee, his mechanics were just so clean. He would instantly turn on fights, instantly found the engages, his flash kicks, his ward jumps, everything was so clean. The Lee Sin, the Nidalee spears, jumping in and out, having such low deaths on champions which are so skirmish heavy. I think it was just really impressive.
And again, it's an incredible human story as well for Karsa. We heard it on the cast. I think we talked about it a little bit. The fact that the Flash wolves never really ascended to much. They would always kind of have their bright moment in group stage, and then as soon as it came to quarterfinals, they'd fall really short, depending if it was MSI or Worlds. And now to have Swordart and Karsa, the ghost of the Flash wolves, in semifinals, and one of them will go to the World Final, I think it's just amazing. Karsa is also, he's been around for so long, so people might think of him as almost like a self-made, really hardened, I'm gonna mess you up, tough guy. He's really sensitive, and it's just kind of funny to see how aggressive and carnivorous he becomes on the Rift versus the interviews that he gives and kind of how gentle of a soul he is.
And also the adaptability, right, from the whole team. And I love you brought up kind of the bracket. The fact that we will have an LPL team in the final once again, that is just bonkers to start off with. It's the expectation, but how they got there for now is maybe not a long expectation. 5 games for Fnatic for top, Suning over JDG, but at the end of the day, we end up with 2 fantastically aggressive teams in that semifinal.
And it's
Oh, it's gonna be great.
It's SOFM versus Karsa.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a banger jungle matchup, and it all comes down to how the supports move around the map to help them out, how the mid laners get the push. And I think, especially in this series against Fnatic, I don't feel like they had too many winning lanes. You know, bot lane was dying 2v2. The Sion did have the good impact against the Ornn. Yes, Knight did pretty well on the Sylas this game around, but it was mainly Karsa making the plays. He was the one probably calling his support, making the plays initially in mid, getting the ball rolling. So SOFM versus Karsa is, yeah.
That's cool.
Also, the fact that we could finally break the curse, that the home region could win the World Championship. I don't think it's happened since 2014 when Korea won in Korea with Samsung White. I'm trying to think, 2015 was Europe, 2016 was North America, 2017
was China.
China, and then Korea again, and now Paris, and now here we are.
The opportunity is there, the setup indeed. Final note, maybe, we are all representatives of the LEC broadcast, and this just hurts. You just got to say it. And especially for those players, you know, the stories that were set up as such, and also the fact that they got so close. Let us not forget it's happened a couple of times in the past as well, the reverse sweep specifically. But it's all about how you get back up after that for now, and the fact that they gave us a fight where maybe not a lot of people expected it.
Yeah, I think Fnatic, I think most people thought this was going to be 3-0 or 3-1. The fact they can take on the LPL top seed, be 2-0 up in the series, have pop-off players in the jungle, especially Selfmade was playing so well, Rekkles was playing so well, Hylissang, and like you said earlier in the segments, like, I think Rekkles and Hylissang have made a statement now. You can't really talk down to them. They've shown that they're one of the best bot lanes in the world.
I think it comes down to that there are favorites, but there are no absolutes. This top 8 is probably the most competitive top 8 teams that we've ever had a World Final. I think if you take any of these teams out and you throw them into any previous years, they would likely be a world champion or contending for a world champion. So I'm glad that Fnatic gave us a show. It's just disappointing in the way that they went out in that game 5.
Absolutely.
That was a live fast, die young. Bwipo's just going into that dragon fight like guns blazing. It's like, I've got this, guys. I know, right? Boom. Smacked out at 24 minutes. But again, it will hurt today. It will suck today. But I do hope that sometime in the future they can look back at this and say, like, you know, I wrote my name in JackeyLove's blood on that stage.
Well, hopefully in that. There's still a lot to talk about, but no worries, we have cooldown for that. It's going to be all for us in Berlin. We'll be back tomorrow, and we'll be right back with Dash and friends for Worlds Cooldown.